If you take away the concept of hell, what do Christians have to be saved from? This is a topic we talked about in the Dan and Cam podcast that came out this week, where we're talking about this motivation of fear and how big of a tool it really is in religion. And we kind of correlated it to our own parenting style, because when we were in the faith, we definitely used fear to help rear our children. We used the fear that we learned and understood, and I've seen people on here talking about, hitting their knees every night and saying prayers of forgiveness and trying to recount all the sins that they did every day, and yearning and striving just to try to remember every little thing that they did, and hopefully not forgetting one thing so that they wouldn't have that check mark against them and in times when the book of life was opened up against them. And it caused all this stress, but it was effective. It kept people in line and kept them constantly thinking about how bad and awful they were. And then we instilled this in our children. We taught our children about hell and that we didn't want to go there because we had a fear that our children would step out of line, step away from the faith, and end up in fiery torment for eternity. So we wanted to instill this fear for their own protection, to keep them safe and in the love embrace of their Father up in heaven. But in this, we learned something too, especially after we deconstructed and looked back on it. That fear just motivated people to respond to the punishment, to react and avoid the punishment that was going to happen. It wasn't a positive influence. They learned how to avoid negative consequences. What we learned in deconstruction was that love is also a very effective and even more effective form of just training and getting, for lack of a better term, manipulating people into it. But it's not really manipulation because you're doing it out of love and doing it out of the best interest of the individuals. So when you treat people with love, they're motivated for their goals, their purpose in life, trying to find what they wanted to do. And we found that in deconstruction. Because simply, if you got rid of that whole concept of hell, there is no need for salvation. And is that truly what the gospel message was about? You guys are on the wrong path. You're following too many rules. I'm going to take care of it. Here it is. It's done. But the church couldn't let it go. They were losing their power in that because people can love on their own and motivate people with that love. But the fear keeps the people in the pews. So they had to keep it going because that pays the coffers and allows them to keep living off the other people. So fear is just a tool as well as hell, because that's the main tool of the fear that they use to motivate people in the faith.